Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Detention. It was kind of a slow setup in the first episode. We played for about an hour and we still really haven't seen anything spooky. For a game that I picked specifically to play during October, Halloween month as I call it, um, I would have expected there to be more of a jump scare. Maybe we're just about to see it, maybe not. Let's talk to the character since we can. Huh? Did you make the call already? On my way. You should hurry back so we can go get the other supplies. So, we got the name of this character, but actually, since I've slept since the last recording, I don't remember what it was. Taiwanese names, it's going to be fairly difficult to remember. I think her name is Ray or Wei. We'll, we'll hopefully get some confirmation there. Otherwise, it doesn't seem like anything's going to happen here. It seems like it would be a little premature for us to find this girl and then find that she is just like left or missing. Uh, Seems like we are in a nightmare world now. And everything is destroyed. We can't apparently go up or down the stairs, can't go in the bathrooms. So we were really just at that one spot. Now, this foreground image almost makes me wonder if there is perhaps some puzzle here where I have to line up these floating leaves into some kind of symbol. If it's like a Taiwanese symbol, that would be really hard to recognize. So definitely it went spooky fast. After all, a very slow build up, and now I'm not controlling or touching anything, and it looked like the character just straight up disappeared. His footsteps echoed softly, invoking a trace of suspense in me. We may now just be done playing as the male character. Reality faded away as time stood still. I swallowed hard as the emptiness confined me. So you had a girl just kind of appear out of nowhere, and now the guy character disappears. So this really is just really, really late entry, a late entry of about an hour. And boy, does this feel inspired like by the cat lady. Although in all fairness, it's hard not to be inspired. I wish more games were inspired by it, frankly. So it seems like we very potentially are gonna wake up in some kind of horrific murder trap or something like that. And so a kind of a bait and switch where you play as the character that's going to be the damsel in distress, in this case being the guy, at the start to try to make you care about that character a little bit more. I'm not sure that's really going to work since we didn't learn much about him or do anything with him. Ray says, why? What happened? So, if he was dead, you'd think his eyes would be open, but maybe that's just an artistic description. He definitely looks cut up and scratched and bruised. ... Looks like he's not breathing at all. Is he dead? But how? He was he was fine just a moment ago. Oh my god. I just met you. Tell me this is only a bad dream. ... Okay, Ray, take a deep breath. ... So it seems like we are back at the auditorium, and she's woken up in a chair again. So she seems to kind of jump around into realities or time. Dot dot dot. There's a notebook on the stage. It's Wei's journal, so the character we were playing as was Wei. So I'm looking through it earlier. Perhaps there are clues to what happened. So this necklace may do something. The game just auto-saves. And the journal seems like something we'll have to come back to. Now we have a new tab of clues. Fortune-telling poem, a fortune-telling poem from the temple. Turn the wheels with the laws of the universe to reveal the path ahead. I assume that's pretty much a direct translation, or a good translation, maybe not a direct translation of what this says in Taiwanese. We can see, I think it's called the Dharma wheel here. Maybe that's not what that is, but each one of these represent numbers and are Buddhist symbols. It's very possible a lot of what we're going to see is allegories to the real world events and horrors of Taiwan in the 1960s, and that may just fly over our head completely. Okay. And we can interact with him. You could grab his nose to see if he's breathing and then see if he gasps, but that might also kill somebody. The way they do it in hospitals is they take their knuckles and press pretty hard into the sternum, the chest of a character. That's pretty painful. You can also take someone's big thumbnail and press down as hard as possible. That's pretty painful. Two, either one of those will more than likely get someone to flinch if they are alive, without actively hurting people. Of course, there's a considerably small number of people that don't feel pain at all, so that wouldn't work on them. Let's just see what happens if we try the objects on him. Nothing happens. Interestingly though, the exit is way out here in the corner. You have all these candles. It's too dark to see anything. I can't read what this says, but definitely that's a different symbol. Previously it was a picture of, I assume, the principal. So I guess what we're supposed to do is grab this candle. I should take this candle with me. It should light the way. There's nothing here. Oh, I know this jacket belongs to Mr. K. So in here before was the necklace. Now there is a dead rat, a dead mouse. No wonder it smells so bad in here. And now we have a book club note with a conversation. Hey, I heard the teacher started a club for students who are reading some prohibited books. Really? I thought the book club was just a place for studying. Well, it seems to me like this is... I used to admire the flag bearer. It was the coolest job. Now I just want to get away from all of this. This room seems to be about the same shape. It doesn't feel like it got creepier. Still doesn't feel like we have the object we're gonna need. They might go creepy here and we may find a knife and then end up cutting his throat instead of cutting him down. I hope I can wake up from this nightmare. Okay. What's going on here? What a nightmare. I guess we go this way. Let's see if we can go this way. Much like the cat lady, it does seem like it is somewhat built around just wandering around. The fence seems to be missing now, and we can see the baya tree. Why is there a grave here? The engravings on the tombstone were all rubbed off. So it kind of seems like we are either in the future or in the past, or in a different reality. When was this built? A shrine? Worshipping a few deities? I don't recognize any of them other than the earth god. Huh? What's that thing next to the incense burner? We now have the auditorium key. There's a note under the key. What's this? Illustration facing the lineage. Picked up at a shrine, seems to be like a page from a children's book. Don't be scared when you see the lingered. I guess that's lingered, not lineage. Just hold your breath and walk away quietly. So I guess we're gonna see lingered. Trail down here has disappeared. So right click to hold your breath, and then we just have to slowly creep past it. We may have to do that as our main gameplay mechanic, and then we'll get him chased. Are we safe? I don't know. But yeah, that seems like that is the gameplay mechanic going forward, is that we will have this Taiwanese myth lingered character that we'll have to hold our breath for. There's probably some other solutions and other monsters that we'll have to deal with later. The door's locked. So had we checked this door before, it would have proven to be locked. And so we had to go that way to get the key. And then we kind of fast traveled here. This is all boarded up. That's weird. Device to control the roll-up door. I'm not familiar with how it works. Might get hurt trying to operate it. We move stuff in and out of this room a lot during this school year. It brings up bad memories. Mr. Kai sleeps in here sometimes. An essay from my sophomore year. When's the last time they updated this bulletin? So this might be kind of in the past. This is Kay's room. What's on the door? Seems like a bunch of Taoist talismans painted on it. Strange it's not locked, but I can't open it. So there might be some time travel going on. We were trying to use the phone and call for help. The lone daffodil must be very hard for you. One of the things, though, I would say about the cat lady, as much as I love it, is that its scariness is really more around relationships and talking and really understanding some very cruel, sadistic people, some very evil people, and some very highly emotional experiences. It's not really around monsters as much as you would think. The monsters are the humans and their inability to love and care for each other more than the actual monsters that you see in the Cat Lady. Whereas this game is going to be more around that mythology, and the mythology is this more nebulous thing. In the West, you have ghosts, but what is a ghost really? It's a deceased spirit. It really shouldn't be evil or malevolent by default. It really shouldn't be something that's plotting to hurt people or working together. That would be more of a phantasm or a demon or something like that. And yet, the nebulous idea of ghost does scare people, but I don't think quite enough with reason. I think people are just afraid of the concept of dying, and that's where ghosts scare. They're more afraid of the concept of the strange and unknowable or unknown. Yeah. Asian Eastern myths tend to have a lot more ghouls. Who can be calling at a time like this? Perhaps I can get some help. They do tend to be more ghoulish and just evil and malevolent by the myth. Bookshelf filled with books about history, leadership, and the war. If I remember right, the principal was also a war veteran. Yeah, we already said that. Mr. K, instructor by to the principal. Most of the staff seem to be related to the military. Are all schools like this? So, Shumoi painting. It's a scene from near the school. So I assume this is going to be spooky. But it's not going to be voiced. Well, he said he was going to try and get hold of the townspeople. One would assume you could get an operator, if not the police, if you could call the phone. Maybe they're calling back. And so we're getting creepy sound effects, but not voice acting. Hello, I'm a student from Greenwood High. This is really loud. Someone here was found dead. Please send help. Hello? Can anyone hear me? Bang. I am waiting for you in the counselor's office. What? Who is this? What in the world is going on? Who is that? How did it know it was me? The counselor is on the 3rd floor. And then we get a creepy jump scare. And we have a shrine here. This is an altar for praying. It seems a little weird to have so many shrines and altars in a school, near a school, but whatever. Save progress. Yes. You feel blessed. Oh, so we are now hard saving on top of auto saving. Interesting. File cabinet, shouldn't it be locked up? A watch list for what? ... The folder is empty. These documents makes me a little uncomfortable. Okay, so let's say this was a school that was specifically set up to house kids that they suspected were part of the pro-communist movement in Taiwan. I guess that potentially could happen. You could have half Taiwanese, half Chinese children all sent to the same school. I think people would pretty quickly find that that's the case. I really don't see much of a point of doing that, though. It does seem more like uh, the principal is just paranoid, and the paranoia adds to the horror atmosphere a little bit, but it's not going to really pay off in my mind until we start to see some sort of monster that represents the principal that is going to determine that you are a communist and uh, or pro-China or whatever, and then he's going to just start trying to chase you and attack you for it. There definitely were a lot of movies in the West that were around the idea of Taoist talismans of protection all over the wall. Yeah. Um, there were some movies in the 50s, 60s, and 70s around the idea of the Red Scare and communist fear that actually did happen in the United States. But I don't think too many of them stand up to the test of time, and I don't think it helped the atmosphere as much as it would have been. I don't think there were that many horror movies set in that time during the Red Scare. If anything, the most recognizable Western movie set during the Red Scare would be the movie Clue, based off the board game Clue, and it is only the Red Scare and the fear of communism is really just a red herring. And that's kind of the running gag. The Hunt for Red October, perhaps, might be another movie where it plays a significant part in a more realistic or serious way. So it seems to me like there's been a lot of monsters that have already been secured in these protection chambers. So I wonder if this isn't a case where maybe we are the monster and the other people are hiding inside these protection areas, or we are in the future and the other character that was found dead put up all these talismans. Can't see its side at all. You can see there's definitely a humanoid shape in that window sill. But to board everything up this much, I may be able to cut it with the right tool. Died young is written on the paper. This is Wei's classroom. I was just talking. We just met now. What in the world happened to him? This very possibly is just an afterlife. Pile of debris blocking this way. Seems like to be broken parts of desks and chairs from the classroom. Now we can go into the girls' bathroom. Should we go into the girls' bathroom? Should we go anyway? This used to be where I could clear my head. Right now, however, it only gives me goosebumps. What's this? There are pliers in the sink. My head hurts, and I look like hell. How did Wei die like that? Am I in danger as well? White dear, please tell me this is all but a nightmare. Ray... ... Forgotten or just afraid to remember. Who? What? Who was that? Yeah. It's locked. I don't think anyone's inside. So it does kind of feel like the door is covered all in stains. Is it mold? We're probably playing as the monster. And you can see they have Asian squat in the floor toilets. Which Your mileage varies from country to country as far as how disgusting those are. This is disgusting. How'd it get so nasty? Rotten smell coming from inside. I don't want to open it. Darkish red stains in the sink. Something's jammed in the pipe. Or a dye in place like this. So we have a single dye. Dye is the right word, but it might have been better to use the word dice. We're definitely getting creepy sound effects. Which that might be another lingered. Announcement flyer handed out by Instructor Bai. Gambling is prohibited on campus. This is a school's ban on all acts associated with gamble. Whoever is caught gambling will be expelled. Now we have a dice. So we may very well have incurred the wrath of the inspector. This is way seat. There's some writing on the desk. Strengthen thy wings, the sky's the limit. ... A lot of ... dots. I noticed that happens quite a lot in... you're on your own now. Who wrote this? It would be ironic if the right way to play this game is to pick up nothing. Let's see if we can hear. It's just standing there. Let's see if the pliers are the right thing. Let me cut this. We're supposed to be going to the 3rd floor, but I don't know if we need to go to the 3rd floor quite yet. We might do better. Health center. Note on the floor. Add to the journal. Food offerings. Picked up on the health center corridor. Put down offerings and revere the lingered. Then hold your breath and do not linger. So, yeah. Definitely feels like this is a hungry ghost type myth, which is like the Asian hungry ghost myth, as I understand it, is that the ghosts often are very hungry and starving, and that's why you see these offering bowls of like fresh fruit and rice put out for them. Suppose it's safe to save always, because I'm assuming at this point you are always going to go back to that save spot. So here you have a food offering based on Asian traditions. You can see how the chopsticks are pointing upward. That's why it's bad manners, at least in Japanese eating, to put the chopsticks directly upright in rice. It looks like there's also some incense in it being burnt. This is all based off mostly Buddhist teachings, which are somewhat similar, I'd say. So you have an eye test, a Snellen chart. I've never heard it called that, but interesting for eye examination. The light box can be lit, if I remember correctly. Okay. So, unless there's something we did with one of these, I guess we are looking for this key. There's a shadow in the left corner. Pull the board up. Yeah. Medical supply storage key. Now, we're either going to run into an error or we're going to not collect that many more items because we're running out of room here. And we get a weird sound effect. Seems like every time there's a new sound effect, there's probably a change outside in the world. It would be interesting to tell a story, probably a horror story, in a universe where anytime an object is moved, all of reality shifts around. That'd be a very complicated puzzle, certainly. Though, if you had to always either not move things or move things to very specific spots, because humans tend to pick up things and move them around without thinking quite a bit. Several documents on the desk. Patient records. Diagnostic reports from the health center. How can this students be injured so severely like this? Date April 20th. Name Huang Ming Chung, 17, gender male. Right arm comminuted fracture, left wrist bone fracture. Yeah, this seems like a lot of detail for what a school nurse would do. It I suppose, is pointing towards potential abuse on the student. Of course, breaking an arm and a wrist as a high schooler is not that crazy either. We're going to see light switches and apparently not use it. It's locked from the other side. We may have a limited number of those food offerings. Emergency shower and eye wash station, some things in the water bowl, another die. So now we have 2 dice. A sharp smell is coming from the metal box. This is paint thinner? Interesting. What are we gonna have to do a paint thinner? So, as creepy as this looks like this is just kind of a room, probably for patients, to give a little privacy. Since this health station / nurse station. We got another food offering, it just magically reset. So it does make sense to come back this way, I think, fairly often. I'm just gonna hold my breath and walk this way this time. So it does seem to me like there are going to be paths that are going to be blocked by these lingered people. I don't think we're doing paint thinner to block our way or to remove talismans too often. Blood stains. Alright. So the main part of the spookiness, I think, is going to come around the idea of walking around the lingered and avoiding them. Only a single desk and chair sitting in the middle of the classroom evokes a sense of solitude, huh? There's some engraved markings on the table. They seem to be words and symbols, but they're too faint to read right now. Let's try the paint thinners. This doesn't do anything. Okay. So we'll have to come back to that later. Sound effects are creepy, certainly. So if the second floor was Wei, then either the seniors, which would be Ray's, Wei, W-E-I, versus Ray, R-A-Y, like her class, they said was kind of in a completely different building. So third floor probably is like first years of a 3-year school, or younger students at least than the second floor, unless everybody in this building is a senior or a junior. Like, no, a junior, not a senior. This may just be a junior building that has 2 floors with different classes. The Japanese schools do tend... I don't remember there being still bars being here. Guess I have to find a way to the other side. Hmm. Let's see. You don't combine objects and do that, do you? That doesn't do anything. This doesn't do anything. What? I don't think these are really desks that open up or have anything in them. Doesn't seem like it. So, at a certain point, I could probably just load back to the previous save if I cared, but... Well, let's just go back this way. Seems like Creepy School is where we're gonna be. Grab that again. Save again. I feel like we'd been over this way already. What did that say? You seem like a pretty nice guy. That's terrible. We could try the paint thinner here. Did that work? Nope. Doesn't seem like it did. We could try it here. Like, paint thinner could work pretty much anywhere. It's a little odd that there isn't a place that's immediately standing out. We got the phone call and it said, "I'm waiting for you on the 3rd floor." Which... We went to the 3rd floor and could only get halfway there. So let's go back down to the 1st floor. Can't do anything. There is a painting here. Guess this is what we do. That didn't do anything. Is it worth it to save when we've just walked in a couple places? Probably not. We seem to be pretty safe. I hate to do this, but am I supposed to use the paint thinner on the plants? Seems like you can run. So I guess this is the door we have to deal with. Hey, and there's a whole puzzle here. Let's see. Clues. Fortune telling poem. Turn the wheel with the laws of the universe to reveal the path ahead. You're not getting a bigger zoomed in picture of this. Strange combination lock I can't open unless I know how to read these weird symbols. So we may have to find a key that is effectively a combination. And we can't just brute force it. But at least we learned something new. An essay from my sophomore year. Okay. So we couldn't open the door because of the talisman. Now I remember about this door, so I should be able to remove the talisman drawing. But if you're a human being and you can't open a door because of talisman, you should reconsider whether you're a human being at that point and whether you're not something more spiritual. Because human beings shouldn't be affected by talismans, as they are the people that create talismans. At best case scenario, the character we're playing as has a demon inside of her and is also human. Worst case scenario, she is straight up a spirit or a demon. And it totally would make sense for spirits, ghosts, demons to be confused. A country map, we have to memorize each province and province names for a geography class. Funny thing, I'm not even familiar with our own little town. What's the point of knowing about places that are so distant? Why is there a knife stabbed into the table? Despite the rust, it still looks sharp. So now we have a utility knife. The table's a mess. Someone stabbed it repeatedly with a knife. Did Mr. Kai do this? Free calendar handed out by the township office. Every household has one. So we'll probably find that every adult turns into a monster. But the lingered are very consistent looking, so it would be weird if the lingered were students, but maybe. Poster of a famous celebrity. This would be like a famous Taiwanese celebrity, so of course I would have no idea who that was. That didn't do anything. So you have a calendar and you have a poster, neither of which feel like they do anything. But the calendar itself might prove to be evidentiary. If you looked at the calendar, for instance, and it was a calendar for a year in the future, then you know, oh, potentially I've either jumped into the future or I am a ghost and I think it's in the past when it really isn't. If you looked at a poster of a celebrity and you didn't recognize the celebrity, that might mean that you're in the future or in a different reality. You definitely would want to try to look for any kind of touchstones towards the expected reality as much as possible in a horror scenario, because you're definitely going to have to question reality in a horror scenario. Question your sanity too. She may just be crazy. This room smells like alcohol and smoke. I am suffocating. A chipped white ceramic bowl. Can't lift it up. Somehow it's stuck to the table. There's scratching marks inside the bowl. Guess the rumor of people gambling in the school was not a rumor after all. A water bucket. Something's in there. Another die. Dark stains on the bottom of the bucket. That smell. And the swarming bugs. Better stop looking at it or I might throw up. So, apparently the maintenance guy was allowing gambling. So, I guess we'll toss the dice. That'll give us a combination. And potentially allow us to escape through that or open that gate. That being said, it also was said that people gambling would be expelled, so it might summon the principal to chase after you as a new monster. The dice turned into teeth? That's creepy. 6, 2, 3. Whoa, what's this? Teeth. I thought I was holding dice. These numbers, no way. I'm pretty sure those were dice when I threw them. Added to the journal, dice teeth. After throwing the dice into the bowl, they turned into teeth. Are the numbers supposed to mean something? What's that sound? The bowl came loose. We now have the ceramic bowl. So yeah, undoubtedly, your perception of reality is not what's really happening here. There's another thing here. A note on the bench. Cutting throat. Found in Mr. Kyle's room. Prophecy is revealed when a sacrifice is made with the blood of the innocent. So maybe the teachers are summoning demons or summoning things using student sacrifices. This is really disturbing. Could we cut the throat of the innocent, though? Ooh, we may have to go all the way back to the corpse of Wei. Cut his throat, get the blood, to see the prophecy. Because as it stands, I don't think we can do this yet. So it feels like it might be a little bit safer in here. At least this is probably a decent place to go ahead and end this episode. So yeah, that first 45 minutes to 50 minutes of gameplay of Detention, not that scary really, and they've definitely made up for it in the second hour. Unfortunately, there may only be 3 or 4 hours of gameplay, depending on how good you are about point and click adventures and finding objects and walking around. There is definitely a danger in a horror game where somebody might just, what I typically would call rage quit, but in this example I would call fear quit a game. So I could see some percentage, probably a small percentage of players playing the first hour of Detention, and then as soon as they see something really spooky, deciding they don't want to play anymore and just giving up. There's also a small percentage of people that are just going to get bored or confused with point and click adventure games, so they won't make it all the way to the end, which really does get back to the idea as to whether interactivity in this kind of story helps or hurts. And honestly, I think it probably hurts. And so potentially what I will do after playing this game is I will just watch the Detention movie and probably find that being forced to just watch events without interacting is a better experience, because you get the timing and the pacing down as good as you can when you make a movie, where timing and pacing in an interactive game could be anything. There is a potential scenario where somebody plays Detention and they just get the hint to go to the third floor, and then they stay on the third floor for way too long, spend an extra 20-30 minutes searching every single pixel on the third floor for some kind of secret, and they never remember to go back down to the first floor and use the paint thinner on the talisman. The next solution to this puzzle almost certainly is that you are going to have to cut the throat of the male character and drain his blood, put it in the bowl, take that bowl and either put the bowl or the blood on the desk, and that will reveal something, who knows what. It will probably reveal the symbols or the Buddhist wheel to equate the number pips on the die/teeth to the numbers when they're written in that Dharma wheel, that Buddhist wheel, counting symbols. And then that will open up the gate, and that will get to the third floor, and that very possibly will be the end of at least the first act, if not the end of the entire game. If more people had worked on this game, if this was from a company that made several more games, I definitely would be more critical about kind of a lack of backstory happening here. They're leaning heavily into the cheaper way of telling a story by having just a mysterious student. She basically has amnesia without saying she has amnesia. So we're not getting a lot of backstory. We're not getting a lot of characterization of the character we're playing as. That is something they chose to do by killing off the only other character that would have been around them. It would have made a lot more sense to have some secondary character that they could talk and communicate with, and write more dialogue. Maybe that would push this game to be more of a visual novel, telling you a story instead of a point and click adventure, which is fairly limited on story. But even at that, most point and click adventure games from the West, old point and click adventure games, Broken Sword's a great example of that. There's usually a ton of conversation and a ton of characters you talk to and a ton of interactivity. This is very, very brief on that kind of stuff. So I could definitely see making a remake of Detention or Detention 2 where you have a lot more fluff. And I think you kind of need that fluff in a horror game so that you can manipulate the rising tension and the falling tension more. This game very likely is just going to be a direct slope upward of rising tension with no falling tension at all. It's probably just going to get creepier and creepier and creepier. Compared to like the cat lady, fairly quickly in the cat lady, you're introduced to the antagonist slash quest giver of the game called the Queen of Maggots. She talks to you quite a bit. She tells you what she wants you to do, and you have kind of a goal and some backstory, and the cat lady then jumps through several different acts in several different locations to accomplish the goals or to just survive the challenges. Whereas Detention, which feels heavily inspired by the cat lady, seems like it's going to reuse this school environment. And it would get very ridiculous if we start finding that there's a fourth floor, a fifth floor, a sixth floor, and it's just the same general animations over and over again. Or if we ended up spending hours and hours in this game in the same location, just going up and down between the first and the third floor. So I would kind of hope for a scene change. It's probably not a great idea to set a horror game in a school exclusively, even though it has been done by a lot of low effort horror game makers and shovelware horror games. Schools are just designed to be a lot like factories. They're designed to look the same and be very utilitarian. They're just not that interesting of a setting compared to something like the world of Rapture in the Bioshock series, where every single level in Rapture is very much a unique artistic level that is very different and interesting to look at. In a lot of ways, it's not too far off from the concept of having zombies in a mall. Like, that's interesting for a little bit of time, but it doesn't change the scenery enough. School students, kids spend a lot of their life in schools, and a lot of their life afraid in schools or unhappy in schools. A lot of them do, at least. So it's not surprising that you would have that instinct to have a horror game set in a school, but yeah, you're kind of pigeonholing yourself. Anyways, I've talked too long in this wrap up. I don't want to keep on droning on. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.